As always, you are right on time. Please do take a seat and make yourself comfortable. It's always a pleasure. We have a lot to get through today, and I do mean a lot. I'd like to kick things off with our Class Z. Now, as you may or may not remember, Class Z is when a product is still in process. Now, rest assured, none of our confectionaries, zero, make it to the client in any form unless they are certified and accepted. We have 10 phases of testing, and after a product passes stage 6, it is then introduced at stage 7 to clients for feedback. Okay, once it passes stage 6, it's been approved to mass produce and sell on market. 7, 8, 9, and 10 just consist of refining that process. So I'd like to invite you to try one of our Korean seahorse. Now, I will elaborate as required, but before we go further, one of the most important steps and most significant rituals that must be observed in these consultations. Maintaining a clean palate. Now, as you've come to expect, everything in our process is exclusive. Please. Those are Spanish grapes, hand picked and hand delivered. The water we have flown in from the Scandinavian ice barriers. The water you're drinking is quite possibly 2, maybe even 3,000 years old, and is of the purest nature. We serve our water at just below room temperature, always still, never sparkling. Okay? You know the rules, you know the protocol, but we do like to maximize your experience. Now, the Korean shell. I'd like you to take one, please. You will notice there was a darker and a lighter. The darker of the two, this is a Belgian chocolate base infused with a praline foundation. And what we're attempting to create is that perfect meld. Whenever you introduce praline to any confectionery, to any product, there's always that risk of it being overbearing. Please, have a try. Right. Now you will notice we just sampled the darker. This has a blend, both have blends of milk and white chocolate. The blend is a 70-30 in the darker, 70 being of the milk. Adjacent we have the 50-50 split. And we'll try that in a moment. I like your initial observation. How is the balance between the praline and the chocolate? Good. Good. I'll just pour myself a glass. The white grape, as I said, is Spanish. The water, unbelievably clear and tasteless. Okay, we've cleansed the palate. I'd like you to take the second of the seahorses. You can eat it in a single bite. You can take bites. Immediately, the white chocolate, infinitely more prevalent. It's only 20% more, but you can tell in the color and the flavor. It's sharper without being uncomfortable. I still think they need to get the praline still a little bit too present. We should taste it, but we should taste more than just the praline. It should be a subtlety. Agreed. I'll be sure to pass on your very valuable feedback. We have one more Class Z, but we'll visit that further into the consultation. I've arranged for a variety. I'd like to apologize to you. Of course, in my profession, I'm required to make a pre-sale evaluation. So when I sit down with a client, even before we've tried the first product, I have an idea and a sum in my head of what I expect the client to spend. Now, my accuracy ranges between 87 to 93%. I can tell even before somebody has spoken a word how much they are likely to commit. The figure I forecasted for our consultation was out by 426%, much to the amusement of the office. I can admit when I'm wrong. However, as I mentioned, when we are wrong, it encourages a learning opportunity. Today we have a blend of C, B, and A classes as before. Previously we had a heavier mix of A and B, as was my assumption, wrongly. We will start with A, as we always do, and to clarify, A is our cheapest product. B is our middle of the ground, is our premium product. And of course, we have the S class that is our most exclusive. I do not need to remind you of the confidentiality. Sugar is illegal for a reason. And at the risk of sounding like a broken record, we go to great lengths and great expense to ensure the successful and continuous operation of our company. Now, with the formalities out of the way, I would like to introduce you to our first A-class. I give to you the coconut mushroom. Now, the coconut mushroom is pleasing and fun, little playful piece to look at. Please help yourself. We wanted to generate a product that even if you didn't like coconut, there was something in the coconut mushroom a consumer could enjoy. It has a marshmallow stalk. The head of the mushroom is a cocoa and syrup mixture, and the decimate coconut gives again the suggestion of the coconut without being overwhelming. As I said, the aim here was to enable a coconut flavored product to be accessible to everyone. Now, this typical Class C is particularly attractive to clients with children, nieces and nephews, because it's a very attractive, very appealing product. Here, please try another. I will limit myself to the one. Need I remind you how expensive our products are? One glass jar of our Class C coconut mushrooms in real world money. This jar is the equivalent of national average wage. An entire year of the national average wage would buy you one vial. As is our way. Again, I would encourage you to refresh the palate. The white grapes giving off the ever so slightest suggestion of flavor. Okay. How did you find the mushrooms? Glad to hear it. I said a playful little piece, but not to be underestimated. Flavors, while simple, effective. Now, here we have our sports mix. Their name derives from a confectionery dating back a very long time ago. We have modified the original formula slightly. Take a piece. come in various different sporting equipment. This is a tennis racket. Red is a strawberry flavor. Green is lime. Black, blackcurrant. Very similar to the fruit gums we mentioned in our previous consultation. The sports mix are a far more concentrated flavor. Try it. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Of all the Class Cs that we create, the sports mix is actually my most favorite. Just because of the intensity. You would assume it's a fruit flavor, but it's a concoction entirely of its own volition. It's deep, a little bit of tang to it. Surprising. Would you like another? By all means. Absolutely. The sports mix has been our flagship Class C for even since before we moved to this new HQ. We've been here for at least 15 years. Our fruit gums that we mentioned in our last meeting was here from the very beginning, 80-something years ago. The sports mix has been a flagship, and it still has that flavor. It's beautiful. Okay, onwards and upwards. If you will remember from our last consultation, we introduced pop rocks, popping candy. Now, a derivative, an extension. We explored the opportunity of sourness. Now, the chemical composition of these is not a million miles away from the popping candy. Now, these are extraordinarily soft, but the base liquid in which they were made from derives heavily from popping candy. Now, these don't pop. We went in a different direction, but the flavor is something similar, but it has a tangy sourness to it. Now, when you put these into your mouth and you start to chew, you might find involuntarily your face almost contorting a little bit. Not unpleasant, but again, your children, your nieces and nephews will love these. Most expensive gift you could ever buy them as a toy, but it's foamy, and there's the tang. We call them space bats. Keeping in the theme of space rocks and pop rocks. A marvelous little invention. Even the smell. There's a subtlety of a red apple. It's a suggestion. Quite beautiful. I'm glad you enjoyed it. They always make for an interesting taste session. I'd like to see them elaborate more, expand a bit further than just the one product. I'll be sure to feed that back as well. Well, these are brand new to Class C. Brand new. To Class A, rather. I do not want to be charging you Class C prices for these. Okay. They are our 3 Class A products. Could I ask your favorite? I'm inclined to agree, but I think all 3. It's easy to overlook the Class C's because I see them on a daily basis, but they're little miracles all on their own. How they squeeze the flavor into the sports mix. Get that foaming fluffiness of the space pads. And that coconut subtlety. It's just quite magnificent. Okay. Drink of the water. Onwards. This takes us to our Class B. Now, the Class B, as you know, sits just above A in terms of complexity. The flavors can be similar, but the complexity that when you bite into it, the initial taste you get will not be the only taste. We have flavor profilings in B and C, and of course, waves of flavor in the S. I have something quite special. This is quite literally just left stage 10 testing. This is only our 2nd batch. And they enter into the realm of something called cakes. Yes. Now, cakes aren't as heavily laden with sugar as the confectionery that you would be accustomed to. However, these are Viennese whirls, and I cannot wait to share these with you. Now, the red liquid is a fruit preserve, which is essentially, in this case, raspberries pressed together, mixed with a syrupy, sugary liquid, forming this preserve. The yellow is a lemon cream. Now, cream is infused with natural cane sugar that we grow, and it combines into a very light and fluffy biscuit. You are going to love this. If I could have named them, I would have called them melting moments, because the moment this passes your lips, it dissolves into this buttery, sugary goodness. Try one. Be careful of the crumbs. It's a new carpet. chefs have outdone themselves with this. It's only the second time I'm trying it. It is effortless. The flavors. 3 waves. The buttery, crumbly of the biscuit. Then you're met with the tangy lemon of the cream. And at the end of it, the end of this tail of flavor, you get the raspberry preserve. Decadent. Wow. I can tell by your face that you're feeling something very similar to me. They really are delicious. Cheers. I'll be sure. Understood. They're not my favorites, but I could see why they might be yours. It's that three-prong attack of it's assault on the senses almost. It's beautiful design, and the execution is just sublime. Okay. I think I'll take another drink. I can still taste the lemon. This was our first cake. We've toyed with the idea for a very long time, but because they don't have the same sugar content, we were always quite reluctant. But I can see that you share no such reluctance. I'm glad to hear it. Okay. Now these might look odd, but they are to die for. These are chocolate trees. Take a finger. Now be careful when you bite into these, because they are extraordinarily crumbly. Beginning to see a theme with Class B. Bon appetit. There's a heavy emphasis on the milky texture to the chocolate trays. They ooze a silky quality that just coats the mouth with a beautiful, sugary, and almost euphoric sensation. There was a very strong case made that the chocolate tree should be reclassified into C, because while the flavor profile is somewhat simplistic, the complexity is in the crumbly, silky nature of the product. There's also a very small hint of vanilla. It needs to further complicate matters when you think you're beginning to work out how this is happening. That second wave comes and just laps at your feet. It's beautiful. This is why I have to replace the carpet so often. Just imagine you're now you just treading in those little crumbs, what the average person would earn in a week, maybe even a month. These are that valuable. Even I have to make them last. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Okay. How are you feeling? I appreciate especially the last 2 courses. Good. Glad to hear it. Okay. Now, we have 3 absolutely exquisite Class C's to share and to experience. But before we do that, because we have such an intense sugary, lingering flavor, I will introduce the second of the Class Z's, and it's along a very similar vein as to the space patterns that we tried. This little powder is a granulated form of the pop rocks, but again the chemical compound has been changed, and instead of the popping reaction we have a different chemical reaction. We have an extreme sourness that will coil the mouth and the face. Again, entirely involuntary. Now, the way these will work is that they will come in a small package. The consumer takes the sweetened, what we're calling lollipop, into the mouth. Saliva coats the outside of the pop, and it's inserted into the dust, which is taken out. And the moment this dust touches the tongue, there will be an immediate physical response. It's intense, to say the least. If you just take a lollipop. And even from here, with this little coating, wow. There's a delightful dizziness that comes with almost pure sugar. I will pour you a little onto the paper cup provided as to not contaminate the sample. Round 2. I defy anyone to try and keep a straight face with this playful little product. The lollipop itself has an intensity of flavor that very quickly catches up to the space dust. remarkable. I don't know how they do this, but it is now at stage 7. It's very near completion, and I imagine it will be placed into the B class, perhaps C. I say B because, again, the flavor profile is twin at the most. But very, very fun. Okay. I'm very, very glad you enjoyed it. A little too strong. Again, I will be more than happy to share this feedback with our team. The development team have emphasized they want the sour note. Your complaint was the first complaint I made, that it's just a little bit too much. Not uncomfortable, but their argument is that we have plenty other products that offer something similar. It has to be this sour because it has to be the standout feature. I can understand that. I can. Okay, now that we tried something entirely different, I think it's time to move on to the C class. Now, you may or may not remember, C class is our elite confectionery. Each of the C class is individually wrapped, and you can expect a flavor profile, 3, 4, in some cases even 5 different flavors melding into the mouth. And as I said, it's an assault on the senses, but a very, very pleasant one. Now, what to start with? Okay. I will start with this. This is our creamiest chocolate. Please try. Now, before we sample the Lindors, I want you to understand what the development team was trying to create. With this little globe of flavor. Now, it's double cream mixed with an Irish cream. Liquid caramel center erupts and oozes into the mouth, and again it coats the taste buds with a velvet. Initially the chocolate of the globe, a little bit of Irish cream, and then the liquid caramel just oozes out and covers the tongue. It's breathtaking. The flavor of sugar is exquisite, yes? Wow. I'll see how many we have in stock. Whatever your demands, we will meet. There There may be a slight delay on the Lindors because they are our most popular Class C. But fear not. Whatever you need, we will provide. Okay. The next of the Class Cs chocolate eclair. Okay. The royal blue with the gold trim sets the tone for the chocolate eclair perfectly. A thin layer of milk chocolate encases a thick and quite rigid caramel toffee. With a liquid chocolate center. You would think after so many years of orchestrating these consultations, the stickiness, it sticks to the teeth, the richness, the toffee is full-bodied. Beautiful. Absolutely magnificent. The eclair is arguably our richest and most overbearing confectionery. The light chocolate, milk chocolate outer casing is a very subtle housing for what is a very, very, very full-bodied, hard, sticky toffee, but tempered ever so slightly by the milk chocolate, that liquid milk chocolate center. I don't know how they keep it liquid. I assume it's a chemical reaction with the heat of your mouth, but it, again, similar to the Lindor, it just rolls its way across the tongue, that coating, but an entirely different flavor and in a different way. There's almost a molasses of thickness to it. Beautiful. Okay. Still with me? Good. Now the last and final Class C. It's a fruit-esque chocolate. But these two flavors blend so seamlessly. This is a ruffle, and I cannot wait for you to try this. the standout feature of the ruffle, or ruffle, depending on pronunciation, is the choice of dark chocolate. A thick layer of dark chocolate acts as a housing for a fondant that combines coconut and raspberry, and these flavors are fed to you drip by drip. Now, astonishingly, it's the coconut flavor that hits first, not the chocolate. The coconut is coupled almost immediately after by this suggestion of raspberry, and it finishes with that dark chocolate just carrying it over the line. But then the three of them combine into a fourth flavor profile that just it always amazes me how they can stagger the introductions of flavor. It's magnificent. How are we doing? Room for 2 more. Of course you do. Okay. Now, the next class is the Class S that you will be familiar with from the 2 we presented to you last time. The marshmallow and the county fudge, or toffee, as it is sometimes called. Now, the first Class S I will present is actually a Class C that you saw previously, but with a twist. And because of this twist, we have escalated it into Class S. Now, these were already exclusive, criminally so, ironically, but we have added, in the addition, I will show you. They come in a very special presentational box. The lid is magnetized, and when I show you what's inside, you will immediately say, I saw this last time. I give to you the chocolate egg. Now, the egg was our Class C last time, you will remember. Beautiful velvety cream chocolate, twin-sided, with a prize collection at its center. However, they have recreated the egg in a bar form, and I'd like to share the bar with you first. Take a square. What you're tasting here is a white chocolate cream with a milk chocolate forging that, when bit into, meld together into something entirely different. Both flavors are experienced separately until you continue to chew, and then there's this joining that creates an entirely new flavor. The milk chocolate dulls the edge of the milk chocolate, but instead of dampening the flavor, it creates something entirely new. It's an exquisite piece, and they put a lot of work into it, and I'm glad that it was recognized and elevated to the Class S. The egg remains the same. I will, of course, let you taste the half so you can verify. There you go. And the collection inside. It's a little assembly. And even these hold a tremendous value because they are just so limited in volume. It's very cute. That was the egg. As you remember, I'm glad to see that they didn't tinker. Okay. How are you feeling? Exhausted. I'd expect no less for a body that isn't necessarily used to this much sugar. It can be a bit of a roller coaster. However, I have one more, technically two more, creations to share with you. Now, this cannot be emphasized enough. What I'm about to show you is so exclusive. We don't even create these in this country. In fact, let me show you. Four little spheres. These spheres have been manufactured, sourced, and packaged in Norway. Now we have an employee by the name of Tenaz, codename T-Bone. Tenaz has sent us these to sample just for you. There are two kinds, a white chocolate and a powdered milk chocolate. Now these little spheres are so expensive that even I won't be trying them. Who am I kidding? Of course I am. What we have here is a milk chocolate housing, the milkiest, creamiest white chocolate we have ever experimented with. But it houses solid licorice. So when the entire sphere, the tang of the licorice bolts out and it's reined in by the chocolate. But the flavor, this is the first and only time we will combine licorice and chocolate. And this is all thanks to Tenaz. But the richness, without doubt, this product belongs in a class of its own, even out with the S, as far as I'm concerned. The licorice has an edge to it that tastes like nothing I have ever sampled. The complement of the white chocolate is matched and rivaled only by the milk chocolate variant. Please, try. It's advised to always eat in one. Do not bite as I did for the example. Even through the cocoa, you can taste the licorice penetrating out. Then the bite. The chocolate tries to come back. You have this battle almost. This torrent of flavor bouncing around the mouth. Thank you, Tenaz. I hope you're enjoying this even half as much as I am. I'm so glad that we were able to facilitate this today, because there was a lot of worry and concern about whether or not the shipment would make it through. I almost don't even want to cleanse the palate, because the flavor is just too incredible. How are you? I'm glad to hear it. Please, take your time. I know that while that was absolutely delightful, it can be quite taxing going through something as intense as a full classification sampling. With 2 class S's, this is entirely unheard of. We are, you and I, in uncharted territory. My friend, after our last session, I wanted to make this as special and as memorable as was physically possible. You will always be welcome back. Always. What we've tried to provide today was in simply 1 hour together, was to recreate the magnitude, the magnificence of what it is that we create here. Because there is a microcosm to our company at large, full of flavor, excitement, and waves of euphoria. It is my absolute pleasure. The grapes can be eaten. And will neutralize and cleanse the palate, so you're able to feel fresh and invigorated, but relaxed. It neutralizes a lot of the stickiness of the sugar. Of course, I do thank you for coming. You will always be welcome. Give me a call. We will be here waiting for you. And who knows, maybe with one or two entirely new recipes and concoctions for you to try. Thank you. Take your time. When you're ready, you can have a chat with our receptionist at the end, and I would give it some time, but of course, I'm here to make sales. You can come back tomorrow. I don't think even you and I could consume that much confectionery in just a day. Although we just ate, I dread to think